All right, start it up, please. Okay, we have an interesting daf tonight. I mean, every daf is interesting, all right? But um, with this daf in conceptually is not so easy to understand. Yeah, so let's see. So we're up to Ayin Testament Aleph, about 10 lines down. Oh, Rabbaran is on now. Okay, good, good. Did you know he was starting now, Rabbaran? Because I think you logged off last night before we said it. You muted, you muted, you muted, you muted, you muted.
Thank you. I did know, but the plug is the plug.
Yeah, so you got to go to the faster plug, but we're not going back down this road, Akiva. We ready? You got to
Moved
go to
on till tomorrow,
to
till
David's plug.
Sunday again. We moved on till Sunday.
David's
What's
plug
up?
is real fast.
Oh, yeah, the plug also
Yeah,
with in Harborview plug.
Rabbi
yeah.
Kalish, yeah.
Harvey plug,
Kalish
the
is on.
plug must be a few minutes earlier than the white show. Anyways, okay. So Zakti Gemara, you have for about 10 lines down on Ayin Testament Aleph. So this is going on the part of the Mishnah that says that when you buy something, what's included with it? Like a bar, if you buy a bar, so the Mishnah says it doesn't include the water. If you buy our good old dove coat, it doesn't include the doves, right? All that stuff, all those type of things. So now the Gemara says, Gemara talks about hektish. Now hektish, the question is that we always have is making something hektish the same thing as purchasing, or does it have a separate, or does it have separate dinim? And what's going to happen if it has separate dinim? So then you're going to be over on meila. Somebody who uses it by mistake is going to be over on meila, right? So let's see. So machar ashpa, right? Machar zivla. So Tanan Hasan, we learned in the Mishnah over there in meila. Kol haroila mizbeach v'loy lebedek habayis. If anything that's right to mizbeach and not to bedek habayis, right? So meaning so there's another hakdama. There's really three levels. There's three levels of hektish. There's hektish for the mizbeach. Then there's hektish that's for bedek habayis, and then there's hektish that doesn't fit into either one of those. All right, so that the Mishnah goes through all these things, and the Gemara brings us. So kol haroila mizbeach v'loy lebedek habayis. So let's say you have something that's roi for the mizbeach, but it's not roi for bedek habayis. The bedek habayis, the loy mizbeach,
How,
or it's for bedek habayis and not for the mizbeach.
how can
All
it
right.
be right for the Mizbeach and not be right for better Kabayas? To me, that's impossible.
Um,
The
no,
Rashbam asked a question, Baron.
right, very good. Yeah, the Rashbam says that it's talking about a how do you call it, tmimim, a tamim dika animal. If
Yeah.
you if you uh if you take a tamimistic, and I guess not tamimistic animal sounds a little weird, but meaning a
It's
tumim
Elul,
animal.
so it's Elul.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the chef Solachabatamin.
Rachman's not here. He won't correct me on however way I say it. Oh no, but if you take a animal that's tumim and you make it into bedek habayis, it's a mit you're mevatel a mitzvah saseh,
What are you supposed
right?
to do with that animal?
You
You're
use it as a
Mavatal
carbon, I'm
Nasei,
assuming.
or does
You gave it to Mizbeach. So I don't understand.
No. Meaning if you donate a full animal that's right to
Yeah,
the mizbeach,
and you give it to better.
um,
That's the
yeah,
problem.
you donate it to bedek habayis.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
uh,
Um, it's all the technicals of this.
Okay.
Um, hold on, I'm just texting Naftali. I don't think he knew that we're on the down. Um, yeah, so that's it then. So you mavatal the mitzvah saseh, so you can't do that. So that will say, so kol haroila mizbeach v'loy lebedek habayis, the
Well,
bedek habayis v'loy lemizbeach. If
what,
it's what's the problem?
I'm sorry. I apologize. What does tumim mean?
It no mum.
So I have to give it to Hegdish. I can't make a steak from it. What
No. You can't
I can't
donate it.
make a steak from it.
No, you can't donate it to bedek habayis.
If
That's
you
all.
decide to
I
be,
don't know why.
if you decide to
So
be
I could I
makdish
could
it,
I could bring it to Parridge's house and have a mixed
Yes,
grill, but I can't
but
down
no
at the
better
Bedek Kabayas.
kabayas.
Okay, fine. Just add it to the list of the
I,
strange. Add it to the list.
I hear where you're coming from in this. I hear like wow, it's not it's too, but maybe it's too chashuv. But you're saying so that's too not too chashuv to go to Paris.
Yeah,
So
I mean, going to
I hear
Paris is pretty chashuv.
I'm
that's
not,
true.
not
It's
I'm
true.
not putting it down at all.
100%. Yeah,
so the
especially
Rishbam
with
says
the sourdough lechem upon him.
all these are meant to go onto the mizbeach. So you're in essence you're
What do you mean
like
it's meant to go in the mizbeach? I want to eat it.
okay, so don't be makdish
We
it.
want to have it for a siyum. We're
You're right.
saving
So
it
don't
for
be
a
makdish
siyum.
it. You could eat it all you want, but if you're gonna be makdish the
But I
animal,
had a hear of chuvas. I want to be makdish it, so that's no good now.
No, I hear it right. I hear what Ben is saying. Ben is saying it's
no, they're
either all or
responsible because
nothing. He's saying it's either
these
all or
things are
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
go
all
ahead.
or nothing. I mean, don't do the middle. Don't do the middle. If you're not mock the shit, good.
Okay,
Enjoy
Ben, I didn't
yourself.
know you
If
were
you're
an all or
mock the shit, then
nothing
you
guy. It's okay, fine.
it's all or nothing. Arizona, that's the way it is. It's all or nothing. But um no, but I hear what he's saying, meaning if you don't be mock the shit, fine, don't be mock. But if
Okay.
you're gonna be
I
mocked, you
mean,
gotta mock the shit to the top.
that's what the svar is. I mean, fine.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
But
Very
that's
good.
what Rashbam says at the end because you're taking something that's really roy for the mizbeach and now you're using it
And
for
then
a
you're
lower level.
Bedek. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so then weiter. Loyla Mizbeach, but Loyla Bedek Kabayas. Let's say it's not Roy, not for the Mizbeach and not for the Bedek Kabayas. Right? So the Rashbam says like milk, cheese, all those type of things. Right? So
Carbs.
then Moil and Behen, Uvamasha Basaychan, right? And you're over on Meila and what's in it. Meaning he's saying it doesn't make a difference if it's Bedek Kabayas with Kachan Haikdish Mizbeach, this and that. It doesn't make a difference. It's if you are if you're makdish a bar, let's call it like that. Well, let's say you makdish a bar and it has water in it. So in that case, the water also will become hektish, which we're going to see later on in the daf how that compares to a regular sale. Okay, so what's the case? Hikdish bar malaya mayim. Let's say somebody who's makdish a bar full of water. Ashpa malaya zevel, or he's makdish an ashpa full of zevel. You can imagine Rabban, he's donating that to the base of Mikdash, right?
yeah.
Go explain that one.
They flip it. No, they flip it.
They paid it.
Yeah, they
I
sell
mean,
it. The gizmo sells it.
I mean, you never see any donation signs on the bathrooms, right? In the shuls, I don't think, right? So,
Well, they
till
use
parents becomes a
level.
gvir.
Yaakov,
When
that's the
parents becomes
famous
a
line
gvir,
Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel said. He said he could get names on buildings, but never on paper towel dispensers.
right, right. Right. So you donated the ashburn to the base of Mikdash. Yeah. Shaivach mala yainim, or a shaivach full of yainim, sadam alei asavim, a field full of grass, ilan nasui peres, a tree that's loaded with fruit, mile and behen, uvamesha b'saychen. You're mile on them and with what's in them. Meaning, for hektish, we hold that it becomes meila. But let's say he's makdish the bar and then he fills it with water, or it became filled with water. Ashba v'achrach nismal zevel, or a ashba and afterwards becomes zevel. Shoivach v'achrach nismal yom, or a shoivach and after that, they put in the birds. Elon v'achrach nasa peres, or a tree and afterwards peres. Sada v'achrach nismal asavim, or a tree field and then it grows grass. Mile and behan, then you're over if you eat. It was made into hektish, so if you use it by mistake, it's yover on meila vein mile and b'masha b'saychon. But we're not mile with what's in it. Tibri Rabbi Yehuda, that's Rabbi Yehuda. If Yosi Aimer hamakdish is a sada is a elon. If somebody is makdish the sada and the elon, mile and behen ubigdulayan, you're mile with them and with what they grow with Neshain Gidule Hektish because that's considered it grew from Hektish. Welcome Naphtali and Rachamim. We're 3 lines up from the wide lines on Ayin Testament Aleph.
Yeah, when you're
That's a
makish a tree, anything that grows in it, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is not considered owned by hektish.
Oh, so that's very schwer.
Meaning, I
That's what it
understand he
sounds.
doesn't
Okay,
want
let's
to
see.
hit
Yeah,
it. Why would hektish not
yeah,
own
yeah.
it?
Hold on, Akiva. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna get to what. Yeah, we're gonna get to in a second. We're gonna get to in a second. So Let's see. Very good. So again, according to Rabbi Yehuda, if you're makdish trees, then you're not. And then it grows. Then it seems like you're saying that you're not makdish. Rabbi Yossi says, "I'm makdish you're mile on them and with what's grew nation gidule hektish because it's gidule hektish." Right. So let's see. So Tanya Amar Rebbe Nirin Divrei Rabbi Yehuda bebar v'shayvach v'Divrei Rabbi Yossi b'sada v'ilon. Rabbi Yehuda seems to be correct by a bar and a shayvach, and Rabbi Yossi by a field and a tree. Meaning, Rabbi Yehuda is saying that a bar and a shayvach you makdish a bar, and then it fills up with water, or or the shayvach or the other one. So that it makes sense that what came in afterwards is not hektish, right? But Rabbi Yossi seems to be correct, like Akiva was saying, by a sada and a ilan, because you makdish a sada, you makdish a tree, and whatever grows from that grows for hektish. So Gemara says, "Ask, hi, mind." So what's the case? Bishlam and Nir and Rabbi Yehuda by Bar v'Shayvach. We understand Rabbi Yehuda by Bar and Shayvach. Mechlal the Palig Asada ve'ilan. That means that he disagrees with Sada and Ilan. Ellen Nirin Divrei Rabbi Yossi b'Sada ve'ilan. But what Rabbi says that it's Nirin Rabbi Yossi by Sada and Ilan. Mechlal the Palig by Bar v'Shayvach. That means that he disagrees with Bar and Shayvach. But Rabbi Yossi Sada ve'ilan kama. But Rabbi Yossi only set up by Sada and Ilan. Right? So meaning it's the way the machlokes sounds like that there is no machlokes. By Rabbi saying nir and divrei, that means they're arguing in all cases. And Rabbi Yossi only said his case in by Sada and Elon, not by the other case. And if you say that he's going according to Rabbi Yehuda, Batanya, we have a brisa. Amar Rabbi Yossi, Einani Raya Divrei Shel Yehuda. Divrei Shel Rabbi Yehuda, sorry, Besada v'Ilan. I don't see Rabbi Yehuda's opinion by Sada v'Ilan of Meishen Gidule Hektish because they could do Gidule Hektish, right? Like exactly what Akiva asked. How could Rabbi Yehuda say that he's not kinda the growth of Hektish doesn't become Hektish? Man, the basic din is that it grows. Anything that grows from Hektish is Hektish. Besada v'Ilan Hu Deina Raya. But he only doesn't see his shita by Sada and Ilan, Bar v'Shayvach Raya. But by Bar and Shayvach, then he understands Rabbi Yehuda, right? And Ramela, he's masking to that, right? So therefore, you see from the Ferish Abrais that there's no machlokes by a bar and a shayvach that it does that the stuff that comes later after the hektish are not hektish. All right. So then, how do we understand Rabbi? So when answers Hakikam, Nirin Dibber Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yaisi bebar v'shayvach. It's Nirin Rabbi Yehuda's words to Rabbi Yaisi by bar and shayvach. Meaning, Sha'af Rabbi Yaisi le'nechukolav ela b'sada v'ila. Because even Rabbi Yaisi doesn't agree only by sada and ila. Bar b'shayvach maidile, but a bar and shayvach, he is maida. Right. So again, what he's saying is that basically there's no machlokes by bar and shayvach. Nobody holds that if water comes in later or the doves come in later, that there's any sort of hectic to that. Everybody agrees to that. The machlokes is by what do you call it? The trees and land. That if somebody makes it hektish, then for whatever reason, Rabbi Yehuda holds that it will not become hektish. Right? Yeah, so the shaila is what is the svara for Rabbi Yehuda? So the svara of Rabbi Yehuda is so by the bar and by the ashpa and the dove coat. So hektish is never kind of things. Hektish is not kind of things. Right. So
Like
that's what?
That's a thesis. That's a thesis over there, right?
Which touches where?
Right here. They says why don't we say that the chutzner of hektish?
You said Tysus is saying that the loyam
like exactly what the point that you're making. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Hektish is not kind of something. What does that mean?
Meaning, if you make a field hack, normally a chutzner could be kinder, right? If I'm sitting in a like somebody just asked me before the daf, they found a ring on the neighbor's lawn, right? So really, chutzner is kinder, and the ring should go to the neighbor because nobody can find whose the ring is. The only thing is that chutzner happened not to have been mishtameres, meaning if it doesn't have a fence, the chutzner mishtam. Meaning, bottom line is let's say the neighbor had a fence, so they'd be kind of the ring, even though they didn't find it. So let's say Hektish owns something and a ring fell into it. Hektish is not koine. Hektish was not as karka. It's not koine, right? Um, Now the reason is that now to be clear, it's still hektish according to Rabbi Yehuda, right? Akiva, this is the chat. Meaning according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's still hektish. The growth on a tree is still hektish. If a tree is made hektish and this fruit grows on it, that fruit is hektish. The shaila is it me'ila? That's all. If somebody by mistake eats it, is he going to be chayiv from me'ila? So Rabbi Yehuda says he is not chayiv from me'ila, right? Meaning because it was only hektish. It's only something that you only have me'ila on something that became hektish through somebody's voluntary neder or whatever you want to call it. But if it's done automatic, then there's no me'ila.
The way the Rashbam says it, is that the difference between, let's say, water coming in afterwards and fruit growing is that the fruit you don't own because you can't be clean it, but it gets hana from something that hektish owns. Therefore, it since it was Yankee, it pulled nutrients from something else hektish. That's the shiloh between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi if it's considered, enough that you could do meila on it. Hektish doesn't own it. It seems like doesn't seem like hektish can be kind of something that came in afterwards, according to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Both of them agree that you're not actually hektish doesn't own it, or it doesn't have a din hektish.
I don't think hektish doesn't own it.
Hektish, it doesn't have a din hektish.
A guy gives his stock portfolio to hektish, so everything that profits after the hektish doesn't own it. What do you mean hektish doesn't own it? They own the guy's portfolio. Every quarter it goes up.
The Rashbam says it's davar shalom.
Well, okay, so we're gonna get to the davar shalom. Yeah, we're gonna have to get. Yeah,
let's the Rashbam says anything that comes afterwards is davar shalom for hektish.
So maybe that's a shot in the Ritva says that the reason, like what you're saying, Yaakov, but the reason why, a different answer why by a bar and a shovach is no hektish, either because hektish doesn't have a yad, or because there's only me'ila like if you're makdish it bepeh, but not afterwards. So over here, if water comes into the bar after, so it's maybe the same thing by a tree. Even though it grows from the tree, but you weren't makdish that fruit. It just came memela from that tree. So that's why Rabbi Yehuda says there's no me'ila. Well, okay.
Meaning, the way I understand it is that it's right. The way I'm understanding it is that it's a technical point of that me'ila only applies to things that somebody made me'ila voluntarily. That's why I understand it.
Right. When you're if you're makdish b'peh, then it's shaykh me'ila. The Ritva says because in the parsha, it's only the me'ila was written by somebody being makdish something.
Right.
That's why. Right, it's a technical point.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. So Tana Rabbanim. So then the Gemara
the almonds that were on Aaron Akain, on Aaron Gadol. The almonds that came off of his staff and out the staff came from the Bnei Shalom. Were those if you ate the almonds b'chayv mila? They also they weren't there before.
That's a very good question. I like that.
Yeah, I hear. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. So let's say he made it hektish when it was empty and then it became full. Like we just said. Right? Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, and he's the most machmer. We haven't seen a shita like that yet. Right? You're even moil b'masha b'soifim. Right? Before we said Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi both agree that there's not me'ila on what's the water that comes into the bar afterwards. Some are Rabbah machlokes b'shta the ilan. The machlokes is by a field of trees. Sada v'ilan. The Tanakama savalak Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon savalak Rabbi Yossi. Like we said, the bar b'shoivach divrei akol moil in behen ve'ein moil in b'masha b'soifim. You're only moil on the bar. You're not moil on what's in it. Like we've been saying, it doesn't make any sense that you'd be doing me'ila on something that came afterwards. That's what the Gemara is thinking now. But the Gemara says, Amalei Abaya, if you makdish something that's full, meaning a bar that's full of water.
I'm just disappointed that the Gemara doesn't give you a case where he's makdish the bar while it's raining.
Okay, so okay. You're good. Let's see on Amid Beis.
It's very disappointing to me.
Right, I hear that. I mean, let's see on Amid Beis because it's mashma like me. I don't know. Let's see on Amid Beis. Yes, normally a Abai v'lo tanya kedushin malayan. If you mock this shit when they're full, moil and ben and you're moil with them and what's in it. But Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon machlif, and Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon switches it, meaning he says, well, it's a little strange. It's not really strange. I mean, it's a little difficult to teach exactly. He switched his shita from before, right? He says that they would not be over on Me'ilah with what's in it. So the Rashbam says it's a milsa de temahu, meaning it's a kol shekain that it should be over on Me'ilah here, right? If you mock this shit milayim, if he's saying before that if you mock this shit and then it's mole, you would be chayiv, whatever, it'd be over on Me'ilah. So this in this case should be for sure. But Rebbe Elazar Shimon switches it on Tamid Beis. So now what's the kasha? If the machlokes in the Tanakam and Rebbe Elazar is by a field and a tree, on my machlok, why should he switch it? I mean, why would Rebbe Elazar change his psak? Meaning, if he holds that fruit that was on a tree, meaning that grew after it was made hektish, is over on Me'ilah, then avada, if you make a tree hektish with the fruit, then you're over on Me'ilah. Right? That's not even a question. So how can you say that? It doesn't make sense to say that the only machlokes is by a tree. Doesn't make any sense to say. There must be that they're also disagreeing by a shaivach and a bar, which the Gemara says. That's what the Gemara says. Elam Rabba machlokes b'bar b'shaivach. Yeah, the Tanakam Rebbe Elazar having machlokes by a bar and a shaivach. Our besada v'ilan, but by a field and a tree. Then there everybody agrees that there's milah. So now this second machlokes, we're switching it. Right? Here we're saying that till now we were saying that everybody holds by a bar and a shova that it's not hektish. The new what came in new is not hektish. And the machlokes is by sada and ilan. Now we're saying the opposite. By sada and the ilan, everybody agrees that there's me'ilah, and by bar and shayva, it's a machlokes. Okay, so now the Gemara is going to spend the rest of the Amid on what's pshan in the machlokes. By bar the shayva, but by a bar and a shayva, berekonin b'may pligi. What are they arguing about by a bar and a shayva, an empty one? What's the machlokes by bar and a shayva that's empty and then gets full? Over malayin b'may pligi. And what are they arguing when it's full? Because they're arguing by both. They're arguing when you make something hektish and then fill it up, and they're arguing when you make something hektish when it's already full, right? So my pligi, what's the machlokes? Berekonin pligi beplukta d'ramei rabbanon, as the age-old machlokes that we've had many times. When you mark this an empty bar or a shayva, it's a machlokes d'ramei rabbanon. The Tanakama something like a rabbanon. The Tanakama hold like rabbanon damri and other makna davar shalom b'lo'ilam. You can't be makna something that's not in this world. So how can you make something hektish? How can you go make something hektish that's not yet in the world? Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, Savik Rameir. Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon holds like Rameir, Damar Adam Makna Davar Shalom Eloim. A person can be makna something that's not yet in this world. So then, when you make a bar hektish, and then the water that comes in, you make it hektish. How can he hold that you can do it? So that's why he holds, right? He holds you can do it, even though it wasn't yet in the world. You're making it hektish right now. Now, how the lumdus works with this is very, very difficult to understand. Meaning how you doing the kinyan? The water's not in the bar yet. Like Rabban wanted to say a case where it's raining. The water's not in the bar. How are you making a kinyan on a bar when the water's not in it? Right?
How would you make the kinyan if the water is in the bar?
What do you mean? Whatever way you make
kinyan with a chutzner.
No, you're doing what? No, you're making it. Well, I don't know if hektish works with aga, but you're making the bar together with the water hektish.
So
you made it.
But that's you making it hektish. But the hektish themselves can't be kaina.
Hektish themselves can't be kaina. No. However, how's hektish ever be kaina something?
Russell had you dummy. It's
right,
through your amira.
So the water,
nothing to do with
the water
is the same thing. Making the kinyan. Your amira makes it that it's mukdash.
Right, so it's going on the water too.
Right, so why can't
if it's in there? If it's in there, but if the water's because if the water's not in there, you said how are you making it hektish? It doesn't exist. Well, we're going to see the Gemara's Teretz is going to say that it sort of does exist, but I'm saying it doesn't exist. The water, right?
But it's not,
So
again, in any case of other Makdav, it doesn't exist.
Okay, so well, they're going to get to that in a minute, especially in this case.
I'm just saying, but if you hold it Makdav, you don't need it for it to exist for you to make a kinyan, to make something chal.
Unless you need a kinyan guf lepeiros.
Okay, fine, but I'm just saying, if you hold of the idea of other Makdav, you don't need it for it to exist right now to make it chal.
No, you still might need a kinyan guf lepeiros. You won't have that by
every hektish is not a real kinyan. What do you mean? Your amir is the kinyan.
You would need two amiras then if it's not there.
Why?
What's your amira?
Okay,
your
however, technically, yeah. So Tosis basically says that in the long Tosis, hence the shorter daf, right? That he basically says that when you're being makdish, you're leaving over. He's keeping a little bit of the bar himself, and together it's going to do a kinyan. That's basically how he says it. But either way, the Gemara asks a very pasha the kasha. When does Rameir say Davar Shalai B'Loilam? That's going Paris Dekel. That's why the Paris of a palm tree, Davidi da Asu, you know that it's going to make, the assumption is that a palm tree is going to give off fruit. Meaning, or any sod is going to grow grass. That's the normal thing that happens. Right? But here, what are you saying? I'm being makdish a bar. How do you know water's ever going to come here? You're being makdish a dove coat. How do you know birds are ever going to come in? Right? It's a whole different story. Who says Rameir is going to say it there? Again, name it the Shamalei Rameir going Paris Dekelda Vidi also. That's where you know it's going to make the Paris. Ani me Aimer also. Who says it's going to come? Who says the water is going to come? So the Gemara gives an interesting teretz. Amar Rava Mishkacha. So you find it the Mayim Habayin Derech Chatzer Lebar. Somewhere where the water came through his chatzar to the bar. Meaning the chatzar is meant to meaning it's like a drainage ditch. That's what it would say. Like a drainage ditch. So it's almost an automatic that the water is going to go into the bar. Oh, not almost, I guess it has to be an automatic. And the yoinim are going to come from the owner. This is not the first dove coat the guy has in the neighborhood. He's got another dove coat. Since he has another dove coat, that dove coat is meaning the doves from one dove coat are going to be transferred or fly into the other one. Meaning they have pull. That's the way I understand. It has pull. So since he already has one dove coat, you can assume that they're going to go in. So therefore, it's considered almost like a definitive davar shalaba.
These are both cases we had because of the bathroom, no? We had by the gutters, the water goes off into the other guy's
into the field, right?
And right. The dove coats that are closer than 50 yamas or whatever it is, 50 mil. Right. So he has two. Mamela, it's going to go from his to the other shayva.
Right. I hear. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Good. You reminded me. I have to remember something. Okay. So that's the machlokes when you makdish the bar and then you fill up the bar, or the dove coat and then the dove coat the birds go in. Okay. What about the malayim? What's the machlokes? Whether they hold you could be makdish something, a bar with water in it, or a dove coat with the doves in it. Why is there a machlokes there? So Amarabba began to hikdish bar stam. Somewhere where he was makdish the bar stam. Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon Savalakavu, and Rabbi Shimon holds like his father, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. The Amar Don and Din Gavayim Din Hedjit. You can learn out the Din Gavayim from Din Hedjit. Meaning the same way kinyanim work for regular people, it also works for hektish. Ma Din Hedjit. Just like by a regular person, Matzi Amar Bira Zvinilach, Mayala Zvinilach, a person could say, you're not getting the water in the pit, you're not getting the bird in the dove coat. I sold you a bar and not the water, or I sold you the dove coat and not the birds. Aftin Gavaya, Bira Aktish, Mayale Aktish. You could say I was Maktish the bar and not Maktish the water. Now the Gemara is going to immediately ask, meaning the guy could say I didn't mean to be makna that. The only problem is the Mishnah says beferish that it goes together. Right, skipping the parentheses as if it didn't hedge it loy, and it didn't hedge it, he's not kind of the water. But now we learned in the Mishnah, machar bar, machar mema. If somebody sold the bar, he sold the water. That's what our Mishnah says. So Amarava Masnisin Yechidahi. Our Mishnah is a das yachid. Tanya, because we have a brayse that tells you clearly that there's a machlokes. Machar bar, loy machar mema. If you sell a bar, you don't sell the water. Rav Nasan Omer, machar bar, machar mema. When you sell a bar, you did sell the water. So meaning our mission is going like Reb Nosson. And Reb Elazar is going with the Rabbim. I don't know. How do we know that? It's one-on-one here. Right? Okay, but it seems like we're saying that it's a machlokes. So Mamela, Reb Elazar is going with the sheetas that hold that person is kind of makna a bar. He's not necessarily being makna the water. Okay. Thank you for tuning in early. We'll stop over here.
They didn't ask you when share is Erev Shabbos and Motzei Shabbos. I can't believe both.
Oh, they didn't, Tucker.
Both of them.
I noticed they started right away. I forgot to ask.
Both of
you. 5:50. Okay, let's call it 5.
One second. I'm off if Aaron Kaplan is here.
I'm here, though.
5:55. 5:55. I gotta check this, man, because we were fighting about Plag before the Olam got on.
I do apologize. We were fighting about Plag. It threw me off my game.
Yeah. So
good that Aaron Horowitz was on the game.
Yeah, very good. So what Ice Shabbos is 8:07, 8:20. So let's call it for 8:35. 8:35 as a Shabbat Shabbos. So 5 to 6 tomorrow and 8:45 Motzei Shabbos.